In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the Afinia Studio software to 3D print an STL that you have created. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the Afinia Studio software to launch the software. And on the left hand side of the screen, you're going to see a few options, but I want you to look here at the top of the screen. It is important to know that if the printer has been turned on, you should see the name of the printer. If nothing appears up here, please see Mr. Bolt and he will turn the 3D printer on for you. The printer is on. I'm going to go ahead and select the build option. And here is my printing surface. So I'm going to add a part to this surface. So I'm going to come over here and click on the plus symbol, which is add. And the first icon you see here is basically add object or add STL. Okay, so we're going to locate the STL file for this example that we saved to the server. So let me show you the long way to get to that 3D printing folder. So if you look on the left hand side of your screen, underneath computer, you should see something called student public. I'm going to go ahead and click there once. And then I'm going to go to curriculum. I'm going to double click. Bolt Engineering 7 and 8, double click. And this folder called 3D Printing, save here, double click. I'm going to use for this example a file I saved to first period, so I'm going to open up first period, double click. I'm going to find my last name and period number and the name of the part, in this case Bolt 1 LED, double click. Okay, so I'm going to roll the mouse wheel, I'm going to zoom in and then hold down my left mouse button and rotate. So you can see that the object that we designed for this project is actually on its side. I want to take the bottom, which is nice and flat. I want this to be sitting flat on the printing surface. So in order to do this, I'm just going to single click one time on the part. Just single click once with your left mouse button. A lot of times you'll see this window appear and then it'll disappear after a few seconds, but it just gives you some information about the part. And with that, just click just one time. It's okay if that window disappears. I'm going to move up here to the right and click on this rotate button. So we can see that the object that I've selected is ready to be rotated, and sometimes it's a little trial and error here. So just to give you an example, let me start with the x-axis. I'm going to click on X. A lot of times you're either going to select either -90 or 90. So here's what's going to happen. Let's start with -90. So it's going to start rotating the object 90 degrees in the negative direction, and if I click on 90 degrees positive direction, it simply starts rotating in the opposite direction as it just was. And still I'm not getting the bottom of the part to sit flat on the printing surface. So let's try Y, and let me try to go -90 or 90 along the Y. Got it. Perfect. So you can see it's sitting nice and flat. Now I'm not going to do anything other than select now this option. This is very important. This is called auto place. This is to make sure that the part is sitting flat on the printing surface. I'm just going to click this once with my left mouse button. And if I zoom in and hold down my left mouse button, you can see it's sitting nice and flat. And you will notice something I'm going to show you at an angle here. It does look like it's not touching the surface, but this is very normal. It's just kind of floating there, but that is actually what you typically see using the software. So that is ready for printing. Now if I wanted to add another copy, since I'm going to be printing two of these for this project, I would simply right click on the object and I would copy one time. Now you can see I have two of these objects. Once again, if you keep hitting auto place, it's simply the printer software will reconfigure the parts, especially if you have a lot of parts here, so that they all fit on the printing surface. In this case, I'm just going to leave these two as they are, and I'm now ready for printing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and select on the left hand side of the screen. There's the print option. And just to look at a few things here, you can notice that there's something called the layer thickness. There's the infill that's been set. The quality has been set, and there's also a few other preferences. Please keep in mind that Mr. Bolt has set everything the way he wants it set for our prints, so there's no need to change any of this information. Now you'll notice right here I do not see a print option, so I want to show you what you might have to do in the event you don't see the print option. Typically it'll say print here, so let me go ahead and close this. If you don't the printer needs to be what's called initialized, which is this button here. Now you might hear a beeping sound when you click on this button. And what that beeping sound is telling us is that the computer is now communicating to the printer to have it turned on, ready for printing. And this usually takes just a few seconds. So it's important to know that you may, at some point in time, have to do this step, which is why I wanted to show it to you. And the reason you'll know if you do and do not have to do it is if I go back to print, you'll now notice I do have the print option. More times than any, you'll actually already see that the printer's been initialized, and it's just a matter of selecting print. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the print option. Remember, we're not changing any of these settings. The printer soon enough will start to heat up, and usually takes no more than a minute. Will then start to print. This message we have on the screen here is simply telling us that these two parts will take roughly about 8 minutes 55 seconds, and we'll use only 0.88 grams of PLA material. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and at this point the video is complete. You should probably see your parts starting to print probably within the next 30 seconds or so. When they do finish, please get Mr. Bolt and he will remove them from the printing surface.